Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. And a few months ago we took a look at what I believe to be the best remote control for any Windows computer, especially for those that want to use their computer as a media device. Now I will leave the link down below so that you guys can take a look just in case you haven't. So the remote is this one right over here, the W10 Gyro, and the same company just released this mini computer right over here that we are going to take a look at it. Now the name is a little bit weird, but I will leave some more details down below. And that being said, let's start with the very quick unboxing experience. Once we open the package, we'll find a quick user guide, one HDMI cable, and of course this mini computer, which is the Pepperjobs GLK UC2X, a weird name as I said. We'll also find a power adapter with the most common sockets, and in terms of the build quality, it's okay plastic. I wouldn't say that it's premium, but I wouldn't say either that it's a cheap plastic. It's a nice unit, it's well built, so I cannot complain in terms of build quality. Now moving to the connectivity of this particular machine, it has a lot of connectivity, which is always great, and I know that you guys love to have a lot of options. So starting with the left side, we'll find a USB Type-C, two USB 3.0s Type-A, micro SD slot for micro SD cards, of course, and also the power button. And then on the right side, we will have a Kensington lock and a reset switch. And then finally, at the back, we'll have the power input jack, a gigabit Ethernet port, mini display ports, HDMI, USB Type-C, and a headphone jack. Now moving to the bottom, we will see two things really interesting here, which is the option to upgrade this machine. And it's really easy because most of the mini computers that we have seen, we will have to remove the bottom cover, which is nothing complicated, but in this particular case it's even easier because we just have to remove two screws, and then we will have access to the bay where we can replace the M.2 SSD, and also we can increase the RAM or replace the RAM. So we can insert two RAM slots in there and have a little bit more power in this mini computer. And talking about power, this computer is using a Intel quad-core N4100, which we have seen here on the channel in a few machines. This is a Gemini Lake generation computer. It also has 4 GB of RAM out of the factory and 64 GB of flash storage, and both of these can be upgraded. Now in terms of Windows, it's running the Windows 10 Pro full license. And regarding the machine, this is basically it. Interesting machine with some really nice specs, but let's take a look in what we can do. Now looking at the performance and looking at some benchmarks that I did in terms of the network speed test, as you guys can see, if connected to the Ethernet, I will get almost my gigabit connection. Probably I had something connected that didn't allow me to go to the maximum, so the reading that I had were 700 megabits per second on download and 200 megabits per second of upload, but I do believe that it will reach the maximum. Probably I was downloading something, doesn't matter. In terms of Wi-Fi, we will get 200 megabits per second of download and 200 megabits per second of upload. So the connection is good, more than enough for all the streaming needs that we will use. Now moving to another test, in terms of disks, as you guys can see on screen, the disk is pretty fast. We got readings over 300 megabytes per second on reads and 200 megabytes per second on writes. Moving to Geekbench for really quickly, we got on the single core score side 1700, and then on the multi-core score 4700 in terms of the CPU score, and then on the graphics score 8500. So in terms of graphics, this is still a mini computer without a dedicated GPU, but we will see the biggest limitation in just a few moments. Now if we take a look at a media consumption device, guys, I did test it out as a Kodi device connected to my network attached storage solution, where I do have all my movie library and so on and so forth, and the result is just great. Connected to my network, I was able to stream all the, well, I didn't test it all, but most of the demanding movies that I've got, MKV 1080 Blu-ray movies streaming across my network without any issues at all. So in terms of using Kodi, Plex or similar apps, we will be just fine. Even using Windows, we have the easiness, if I can say so, of creating our own server. In my particular case, I don't need, because I've got a few servers down there. One of them is just for Kodi, and that's the one that I'm using to test out this machine. So the result was just great. Moving to Netflix, what I can do at this moment is get on the Netflix app up to 1080. Really smooth playback, no issues at all, as you guys may imagine. And in terms of 4K, I'm not really sure if it's possible, not increasing the RAM, because in the Windows side of things is a little bit more tricky on what we can do and what we can't do. Now, moving to YouTube, for those of you that love to watch YouTube, like this video right over here, then you'll be just fine, because we can obviously play up to 4K with a really smooth playback, no issues at all right over here, as we were expecting. Now, moving to the only limitation that we have on this kind of computer, at least at this moment of the recording, probably in the future things will change, not in the near future, but probably in a few years, and that is the GPU that is integrated in this machine. Now, if you want to use something like this to play games, you will be able to do so, casual games from the mobile platform, and in this particular case the Windows Store, like Asphalt 8, Asphalt 9 and all that collection, then we will be just fine. On the other hand, if we want to play some serious gaming, we will not be able to play it directly on this machine. Nonetheless, if you have any other computer like I do right over here, then we have the choice of using game streaming, which is beautiful. If you don't know what it is, just check out the channel down below. We have a lot of videos on game streaming, Android, on Windows, on Linux, and so on and so forth. So it's just basically a way to play our games on this machine, on our living room TV, but the power will be pushed through our computer that actually will have the game installed right over there. But we will be playing on this machine located on our living room, on the bedroom, whatever, doesn't matter. And what I can say is that the tests, as you guys may have the chance to see, were great. I was able to stream 1080 60 frames per second playing Gas Guzzlers, which is a really nice game, and had no issues at all. So in terms of game streaming, guys, and in terms of media playback, my conclusion is that this is a great machine. That being said, that is it. Hopefully this video was helpful in some way, and if it was, don't forget that usual thumbs up. My name is Roberto, and as always, I'll see you guys on the next one.